Welcome to another episode of Quick Hits brought to you by Rollout Marketing. I am pleased to welcome my good friend Matt Kuyper onto the show with me. Hey, Matt.
Hey, happy to be on this one.
Matt
Another of the plethora of podcasts, right?
The industry needed one more podcast
one more.
for sure. One more marketing company, one more podcast. Matt is the minority owner of Harpeth Painting in Nashville, Tennessee. He is a physical specimen and a mental specimen, I would say, as well. You probably don't get as much applause for that. Welcome to the show. Let's just start. Let's get right to it. I asked you what you wanted to talk about, and you said something snarky like, hey, why marketers shouldn't be part of our industry or something like that. Fine. Let's start with your thesis. If I say marketers are, you say what?
Yeah. I don't think marketers are is a good sentence because they're not all the same. So I think marketers can be and should be a valuable partner, especially if you're trying to grow your business or even enhance your network. But I wouldn't say are, it's a can be.
I love what's implied with that statement. Like what they might not be then. Okay. Yeah. They can be, but right. Love it. All right. Well, let's talk very quickly about your experience. Why should anyone that's listening care about what you have to say?
First of all, nobody should, but if they're here, they're listening. So, I think we probably have a unique trajectory in our business that we grew from 0 to 12.5 million in about 7 years. I think that's a fast trajectory. Maybe you're going to surpass that at Ellison Painting, but, so we've been able to try a lot of things in a short period of time at scale. So we've gained experience quickly and we've made mistakes quickly and iterated quickly. So if it can be done improperly, we've probably done it. And if it can be done properly, we're hopefully heading in that direction. Yeah. So learn from my mistakes, maybe.
And what you guys have done truly has been remarkable. And somehow Harpeth Painting still somehow flies under the radar. Your wife is the vice chair of the PCA. And you are active in a lot of communities and you guys both speak at things. And still, I think that Harpeth Painting is still under the radar. Does that feel that way to you?
It doesn't feel that way to me. It feels every time I run into somebody, I feel like they know of Harpeth Painting, but I think maybe it's because of our authenticity. We're not trying to be something we're not. So it doesn't maybe get out there the way some other people do.
Yeah.
Especially Maggie. She's 100% authentic. I can kind of be snarky fake every once in a while.
All right, let's get to it. So let's cut to the chase and let me ask you this. What are the biggest complaints that contractors have about marketers?
Man, I talked a lot about this over the last few weeks with some industry peers, and I think it's the I wouldn't say overpromise and underdeliver, but it's they can come across as like, we're going to take you 10x, we're going to do this. And if you spend $200 a month, we guarantee, or we'll give you 100 leads and your business will, but it's a lot of smoke and not a lot of fire, is how it can be perceived. Yeah. And I think you probably feel that too I think you've worked with plenty of marketers that maybe haven't given you what you expect. And, you gotta understand if they're going to be a good fit for you relationship wise too, because they're becoming your voice and you want to stay on brand. And a lot of people have their system, their process that they're trying to mold everybody into, and it may not work for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a different perspective than most here because we have primarily been on the client side of these relationships until we launched Rollout Marketing. And I mean, that's one of our value props at Rollout is, I know all the things that piss people off about marketers, and we're trying to fix it. Will we fix all of them? No, but we can certainly avoid those pitfalls. I think it's fair to say your initial statement that marketers tend to overpromise and underdeliver. I think that's true.
Yeah.
No, I mean, right?
And they use 100 times too many rocket emojis.
That's also very, very true. Yeah. We've taken this approach in our discovery process when we're interviewing a potential new client. We talk about what our guarantee is, and other marketers do guarantee 10x or a certain number of leads, and we won't do that. We won't guarantee any numbers on leads. We won't guarantee any number on sales. Obviously, we can't do that because we can't be boots on the ground and selling for them. But I even say I'll actually guarantee that we're going to disappoint you at some point, right? Because not every relationship is going to be perfect. At some point, the leads are not going to be great. Maybe the lead volume is not going to be great. You will have something to complain about. We do guarantee that we will communicate and work to solve problems. So
yeah,
that's your complaint that you shared is exactly what everyone else would say and does say.
I think that's what can separate a good marketer from a bad marketer is somebody that has, hey, these previous 10 clients that I have, here's the results that they had. Mm-hmm. And it's not like every client gets 100 leads a week or whatever it is. It's in this market, it may be hard. Facebook's not working as good, or it's costing a lot more in that market, and being very transparent about, we had to adjust every 2 to 3 months to figure out what was going to work, and finally found something. Yeah. But it wasn't a quick, easy fix.
Yeah.
Just being honest about that, like you said.
For sure. And I will say that some of the complaints that people have maybe aren't justified. Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe they're just not fair. An example of that would be, well, we signed up with this agency and, we're 3 months in and we're not getting the lead volume that we need. Well, 3 months is in the grand scheme of things is not a ton of time to allow a marketing system to really get some roots, dial in, and get some results. And so I've been critical of painters that they've bounced around from agency to agency too much.
Yeah.
So the complaints certainly go both ways. Well, let's flip it then. What are some of the things that you've seen marketers do really well? Are there some?
Yeah, I think because they do it full time, they know they're on the cutting edge of what's working. So this may not be working anymore, but for a while it was hey, Nashville homeowner, I'm so-and-so, I'm Harpeth Painting. Like, dude, those hit for a while. That's probably not new anymore, but that was something that I never would have come up with as organic Facebook post.
Sure.
Or the cost proposition of 5% off or 10% off at this time with this booking and this link, and taking it from a professional perspective of content, volume, how much you need to put, like being an expert in whatever media they're advertising or marketing on, whether that's Facebook or if you're helping with Google and SEO and all that, just knowing what works at that time because it's constantly moving.
Right. And we should be employing that mindset, that methodology within our businesses, right? We should not be the domain experts on each part of our business. It's the reason why we have salespeople and project managers and not salespeople, project managers.
Yep.
And there's going to be very few times when a painting contractor, the owner of a painting company, is also an expert in marketing. If sometimes that's the case, and maybe I'm an example.
And if they are, they start a marketing company.
Sure. Well, I was just about to say, I ran a marketing agency for 2.5 years. Then I worked at another marketing agency that specialized in other stuff. So I have more expertise in marketing than most painting contractors. And even so, I wouldn't call myself a marketing expert, which is why I have marketing experts on my team that are helping to develop the strategy and implement those strategies for my clients, right? Even within a marketing agency, the domain expertise is spread out.
Yeah. What platforms are you helping people with? Is it mostly Facebook right now?
No, we certainly are doing Meta ads. We're doing Google ads. We're doing Nextdoor. We're also, because of our experience at Ellison with direct mail and door hangers, we're consulting on that, email marketing. But yeah, certainly the two main pillars right now are Facebook and Google. They're the two highest returns for.
Yeah. And those are two very different things to manage.
Different strategies, different management, different budgets, for sure. Yeah,
yep.
Very different. So you identified their domain experts. Anything else that you've seen them do well?
Man, this is controversial maybe, but some of the good ones, some of my friends do really give back to the industry and support the industry in a good way. This will probably be the most controversial thing I'll say, because I know a lot of people don't feel that way, but they really do have their hands in a lot of this industry and can gain shareable experience from a $5 million company in California, and they're working with a million startup in Boston or whatever it may be. They know, hey, not just in marketing, but like, hey, they've done this with their project managers just because they've talked about it and know how they're running their business. So they're sharing best practices throughout the industry.
Yeah, good. Now, I don't want this to all be about paid marketing because I don't want it to be an infomercial on why someone should hire Rollout Marketing, though they should. If someone doesn't have money, but maybe they do have time, what are some ways that people could generate sales opportunities for them and their team without paying an agency or even paying ad spend?
Yeah. So this has been our bread and butter, even in our residential repaint vertical, is the regular old unsexy boots on the ground stuff. We have a fairly large team here now, and everybody's required to be in some sort of networking group or industry trade group. It's amazing just the organic lead generation that comes from that stuff. Once you start getting 10, 12, 14 people out there consistently doing this over years, we had we almost need to put this in our CRM as a lead source, but Maggie's an avid tennis player, and I think she's generated close to $1 million in revenue from her tennis team alone, or referrals from her tennis team. So we have people in our business that are going to their kids' sporting events and being proud of where they work, sharing where they work. And, obviously repeat and referral is the highest and best lead you can get because your conversion is going to be so high. And then something else that people really don't like to do, but is really effective, is reactivation campaigns by just picking up the phone and calling. Not sending an email, not sending a postcard, but literally going through your list and calling people. We have some data on this and from others in the industry too, that if you call 100 people, you're going to get 6 to 10 estimate requests, and you're probably going to convert way over your average 40% on those because they already know you, they need painting done. They're probably going to do it. And that costs whatever it costs somebody to make 100 phone calls.
Sure. So those are some good suggestions, some of which we've used. A lot of these, though, are more or less valuable depending on the size or age of the business. So, for example, reactivation is something that we have not done much at Ellison Painting because we're not even 3 years old.
Yep.
We have a lot of previous customers, but
they don't need painting yet. Yeah.
Right? Within the past year and a half, usually, on average, our customer is a year old. But for bigger companies, or even companies that aren't bigger but have been around for a lot longer, absolutely, reactivation is a very cheap, very easy way to generate some new business. The tennis club, country club, that's a little tougher because if you're a smaller business, maybe you don't have money to be a member of a country club.
That's technically maybe paid.
But I would say we've generated a ton of business because of my membership at my gym.
That's one I wrote down, but I forgot to say is gym memberships for sure.
It's not the same as a country club membership in terms of cost, but the relationships I've formed there have generated us a ton of revenue. When we painted the gym itself, and the adjacent offices, plus a bunch of our other members' houses. Let's talk about the networking groups real quick. So this is one that I never got into simply because the time required was tough for me as I was trying to grow the business, sell jobs, recruit subcontractors, and all that. But I think that could be a really valuable tool as you're using it for the salespeople. It's not going to generate $1 million worth of business necessarily each year, but if 1 hour a week is going to generate $100,000, maybe even $200,000 worth of referral business, that sounds pretty good, right?
ROI. Yep.
Yeah, and that the financial cost to be in those groups is minimal, but it is. You got to dedicate an hour and a half of your time.
And you got to be consistent in those, whatever it is. You can't just show up once a quarter and expect people to trust you and give you business.
Not if you want referrals, right?
Yep.
The other avenue we've used, and I know this is bread and butter for you guys, is I've established relationships with local builders and home renovators. We got hired to paint the outside of his house when he renovated his own house. And the experience with us was so good at that time that he has had us as his painters on every single project for every single since then. And what's really beautiful about that, I go out and do the estimate, the proposal. never pushes back on price. The answer is always yes.
Yep.
It's a no-brainer, and I generate from that guy alone probably $100,000 in business each year.
Another key one for us is organic social media, which can be just we post a lot about not just our projects, but our team and our culture. And then some of our sales guys are really good at DM outreach to key clients, whether that's a designer. We work with a lot of high-end individuals who you can find on Instagram, and the response rate is incredible, especially once they get to your page and they're like, oh yeah, these people are legit. Like if you've built that reputation organically, those have been huge for us.
Yeah, I bet. So there's benefits to paid marketing. There's benefits to unpaid marketing. What would you say are the benefits to having a paid marketing strategy?
Once you figure it out, it's an easy switch to just, when you need work, you know what works, and you pump it full of money and you get this back. If you spend $150, or if a lead costs you $150 and it costs you $150, you do that all day long because you make money on that.
Right. And I would say step beyond that is it's a lot more scalable, right?
Yeah.
You can't really scale up referrals or word of mouth.
No.
That will scale organically as you have more customers and more reviews, but you can't.
They're unpredictable or less predictable.
100%. Yes. What are the benefits of unpaid marketing?
For us, let's say just in general, it generally creates a better lead, a larger value project, and cost and culture for us are huge too, where it's on brand for us. We actually pulled any of the Facebook marketing we were doing because it wasn't targeting. There's not a good way for it to target our specific ideal client. We were getting good leads from it, but it wasn't really where we wanted to take our company. So we stopped doing that altogether. But the organic stuff, Google is working really well for our ideal client. So we're doubling down on that, redoing some stuff on our website, doubling down on blogging, pages, SEO. So again, we're just going where our ideal client is and measuring that data and adjusting as we need to.
Yeah, I've actually used you guys as an example when I'm talking to potential clients, and how Facebook, like a long established company, amazing reputation, Google reviews, and Facebook just didn't move the needle for you guys because it wasn't the marketing tactic that made sense.
Yep.
Right. But other companies in Nashville probably make a ton of money off Facebook. Yep. They're not Harpeth Painting. They have different target or ideal customers.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. So Facebook is a marketing tactic that hasn't worked for you. Are there any others that haven't?
Not an ROI perspective. It got a lot of eyeballs, so it's hard to say long-term what it did, but there's a neighborhood magazine that kind of targets our area demographic. Mm-hmm. We paid for the back cover page, and it was one of those things like we were trying to track how many leads we actually got from it, but it was impossible to accurately do that. But dude, the amount of people that are like, oh, I saw your magazine thing at the dentist office, or I saw your magazine at the car dealership, or what, like eyeballs were huge, but I don't like anything that's really hard to track. And it was pretty expensive.
For sure. Obviously, as a marketing agency, we want to track as much as we can, but that is important to know. We had that conversation in my team meeting this morning that when someone calls Ellison Painting, they may say they saw us on Facebook, but when we get out there, we see our postcard on their kitchen counter. So what was it? Well, it's a combination of a multi-channel marketing strategy that ultimately leads them to call us, and it's a no-brainer that they hire us.
Yeah.
So
that's the big thing we found too with mailers is you got to do it a lot. And then they're probably not going to say they heard about you through the mailer. They're going to say, I saw your truck.
Yeah.
Or I came across your website or whatever, but they just don't remember the mailer, even though it's got you go to this number or this website, so we know it's from the mailer. Most of the time they don't. So
no, they remember. Then they just Google your name and call the number that's on the Google, right? And then they found you through Google. Sure.
Yep.
Along these same lines about reactivation, paid marketing versus unpaid. What size company do you think should start, at what revenue should they start investing in paid marketing? I have an answer. I'm interested in yours.
I would say when you need to hire your first salesperson, because typically an owner can generate enough leads for themselves. Once you have a salesperson who either cannot or should not generate their own leads, that's when you need to probably hire a marketing company or do something with marketing more professionally.
Yep. I think that's a good answer. There's two sides to it. I think one is the size of the business. And if someone is at, say $750,000 a year in revenue, and they've been there for a while, and they're not trying to grow explosively, I've told those companies, you should not hire us to do your marketing. Some of the marketing you could do on your own. Certainly the unpaid stuff could probably generate better results, and I'm happy to give you some tips on how you could do that better. But why would you spend 5, 6, 10% of your projected revenue back into marketing when you don't need to?
Yeah. You only need 10 more leads a month, maybe.
Right.
to get you beyond that. Yeah. Maybe less, probably less.
For sure. Yeah. But that $750,000 company, if they're trying to get to $1.5 million, well, now you got to generate an extra 750. That's when paid marketing should be a very large consideration. Yeah.
I agree with
that. All right. So believe it or not, we're coming to the end of the conversation already. I like to leave our listeners with actionable takeaways. So what can our listeners do today to start generating organic or unpaid leads? This isn't a sales pitch for Rollout Marketing. So obviously you could call me to schedule a discovery call. We could do that. But if they want to save some money, do it on their own, what are things they can do today to start generating that organic unpaid activity?
Do it. Do something. Everybody knows these things. There's nothing new about what we've said here. People are just scared to do it, or they don't think they're going to get results. But I promise you, if you do something and measure it, you will get results. Do the uncomfortable things. Do what you know you need to do. There you go.
Love it.
Do it. Track it.
Matt, thanks for joining me. I appreciate your friendship and certainly your contribution to the industry. And I look forward to seeing you at Expo here pretty soon.
Yeah, a couple weeks. Yeah, shout out. Everybody needs to be at Expo. If you haven't signed up yet, there's still room. You can bunk with me if there's no rooms, but no, maybe not. Brad, you can. Come to Expo.
Appreciate you, man.